What is going on, everyone? My name is Northy, and today we've got ourselves another round preview. We got ourselves around 15 this week, and the hopes of keeping the prize card streak alive is kind of on the ropes. I'm keen to see how it goes, but I'm terrified, I'll be honest, boys. It is going to be a very, very stressful weekend. I do not know how it'll go. Some big changes here and there, some massive ones in star powers. It's a massive change, and I'm really excited to show off. And I'm fingers crossed works out the way I'm hoping it does. But we've got ourselves a really, really important task on our hands this week, and it's getting ourselves Star Powers prize card. We've got to get one this week. It is my hope and my goal. If we don't manage to do it, it definitely will be frustrating, but I'm confident in the way that we have been going the last few weeks that it'll work out our way. I've put some time and effort into this one, so hopefully things go well. But as per usual, if you enjoyed the video this week, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Everything is always very, very much appreciated, and without further ado, let's jump into the round 15 team coach preview. So here we go. Homepage, as per usual, it is a very, very interesting one. We've got a lot of different matchups that we're kind of looking out for in hopes that they go well. Some that are just the usuals and some that are very minimally changed. I'll start off with the one that's minimally changed in top team. Actually, we'll go top tips. I think that's a word. Oh man, I'm all over the place, but you'll see this is what we've got going on this week. So Carlton versus Geelong. This is going to be a big game. Carlton coming off a week of rest. I think Geelong are too, but this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. I'm pretty sure Geelong are off a week of rest. I can't remember. All I know is this is going to be an interesting one tonight. I'm going to go with Carlton, like I think many people are going with, because form has just been going Carlton's way as of late. They're off a week of rest. We'll see how it goes, but I don't know. This could be interesting, and obviously a great matchup for Friday night. Then we've got the Power versus the Lions. Lions starting to show the form that everyone has been expecting. Although they let the Saints score 106 points, they come away with a 20-point win. I don't know whether that spells kind of scary news for the Lions in terms of how the Power is going to attack them, but I think the biggest threat to the Lions is the Power's midfield at the moment. I think the Power's backline is pretty poor, so I'd imagine that the forwards are going to have a pretty good time in this game against the Power, but it's more a matter of fact, can Brisbane get on the front foot from the backline and keep it going? We know Dane Zorko has been very, very good for them in that backline, as best as he can possibly be, but I don't know. This could be a high-scoring affair again. It's at Adelaide Oval, so the crowd will definitely be cheering him on every single time. I'm gonna go Brisbane. I think Brisbane have been showing a lot of better form, especially Power's performance last week. It doesn't give you much hopes. You just think, as a Port fan, hopefully they're a bit more accurate this week. So we'll see how it goes. This could be a very, very big game. But the biggest one, personally, I think this week, is GWS versus Sydney. Man, is it hard to tip against Sydney this week, man. Just any week at the moment. Sydney, 3 games on top of everybody. It is just impossible to say no to Sydney right now. They have been so good. I think they're going to continue to be good. It's just a matter of, will the GWS Giants manage to play their style of football against them and make it competitive? I think Adelaide showed there are still weaknesses in this Sydney side, but they are very, very good when they're firing on all cylinders. So GWS have to make the most of this opportunity. Then we go to Melbourne versus North, and I think the fun part about this is that more people are thinking is going to be competitive. That's awesome. Their game against Collingwood, although a loss, shows that there is some fight in them, but it's like we don't know how to put a full game together, and against teams who are aiming for top 8, we just don't know if it's going to happen. I think a lot more people are thinking North this week, but I'm still going to be realistic and say Melbourne, but fingers crossed I'm wrong. Fingers crossed. I want North to find their second win. Would be awesome on the MCG turf as well, but this is probably going to go Melbourne's way. Then we go Essendon versus West Coast. This one isn't up at WA. This is in Victoria, so obviously Essendon probably catching a break there. It's hard to gauge Essendon at the moment. I think at their best, they're definitely a top 4 side this year. They've shown they are able to fight with the best of them with that draw on Anzac Day against Collingwood, but this is most likely going to go Essendon's way unless West Coast can pull out some form that they've been seeing earlier this season. They've been pulling off some really nice wins. And then Freo versus Gold Coast at Optus Stadium, this one in WA. Let's see, Gold Coast, they are awful away. Freo at home field. They had a poor game against the Dogs as of recent, so for their sake, I hope they bounce back. I think it should be a bounce back game, but if Gold Coast can finally get that away game win that's been eluding them all season, maybe it'll start to see them show just how much they have to fight when they aren't in front of the usual turf or on the home ground in front of their usual fans. So that's what we've got going for the tips. I feel like I talked forever with that one, but let's go to top team. I was kind of going around it, dancing around the whole subject, but here we are. We're going with Maxi Gorn in the ruck instead of Tristan Sherry. Thank you, Tristan. You did amazing last week, but we are going to go with Maxi this week. He's the consistent one for me in there. Errol Goulden stays. I don't see a reason to take him out. Heaney, it's an easy one for Heaney. He just stays in there. He's been playing amazing. Again, I trust these guys more than probably many people, more than probably any other person in this competition. I think Errol consistently puts up amazing numbers, especially as of late, as Sydney found their form. Heaney, he is one of the only forwards who can always get 100 points, so hopefully he does it again. Sheasel gets the defender spot this week, and it's because he is being put in his centre half back position as per usual, so he's going to get those easy kicks and marks, assuming it goes the way that I think it goes in terms of Melbourne finding their way inside 50, because Sheasel, with the change in injuries and all that, Sheasel had to play a little bit of forward time, and he was effective. He did well. He actually kept up with his usual pace. The 99 is not too bad for him. Obviously, there's a lot of other players here who have been doing better, but I think with the fact that we're missing so many, and I said before, Whitfield, he's going to be in, and he could be a good pick, but Whitfield is also up against Sydney, and they may make it tough for him. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Whitfield does well, as you'll see somewhere else, I believe. But at the same time, I think Sheasel's going to find his way this week. I think he's going to do a bit more. You can see only the 18 posies. It's definitely below average, but 99 points still. Good signs, good signs. Last week, had ourselves 152 with the fantasy points of 429. Just holding on to that number one spot. That's what we want. Number one, baby. We want number one. Keep it up, boys. Then we go to top 18, and you can see, as I mentioned, Lockie Whitfield. There he is. Another one that I didn't mention, Dan Houston. Dan has been really, really good over the last few weeks. 133 points as of last round, averaging just below 100, so there is the chance that he doesn't do as well as we're hoping, although just a really good stretch of form as of late compared to Port Adelaide, I guess, in usual, with how they've been going as of late. So a nice little positive outlier for Dan. Sheasel, as I mentioned. Nick Newman comes in. I've liked how he's been going as of late. He looks like he gets around a lot more than I think he kind of looks like on the field. I think Newman is one who just gets a few sneaky possessions that not many people pick up, and people are starting to see it as his season average climbs. So good on him. We'll see how it goes. Then two Freo boys. We've got Hayden Young, who's been finding himself in the midfield. You can see averaging around that 100. Hopefully we catch him on a good week. Same goes with Luke Ryan. Last week was disappointing, not just from Luke's perspective, but as a Fremantle side as a whole, they were disappointing. So the bounce back for Luke would be awesome, but that's the back line, and we move to the midfield. This is going to be a fun week for the midfield. I feel good with Sammy Walsh in here. I feel like Sam will be able to play a decent game this week. Errol stays in, as we mentioned. The two Essendon boys come back. Nick Martin, Zach Merritt. They've both been playing really well, super consistent. Hopefully one of them explodes this week for a great game. And the big one, Jack Viney. No Petrarca from injury. Clayton Oliver's starting to find his form again, which is good for him. And Neil Bullen, he's been doing good too, but you can tell someone is going to need to step up in the absence of Christian Petrarca, and I've decided that is Jack Viney. Hopefully Viney has himself an amazing game. There's the potential for him to do so. He can occasionally burst out with some amazing games. He's at 88 for the season, so it's just fingers crossed that he can find himself that form that Christian Petrarca may have held him back from. I don't know. It's just sharing the footy at that point. Someone is obviously going to take Petrarca's spot. I'm just hopeful Viney picks up a bit more of the workload in this sense. But that's the midfield. A very interesting one, and I'm excited for it. Hopefully it goes well. And then our forwards. A lot of tools this week. A lot of tools. I think Cozzy Pickett and Isaac Heaney. Heaney is just obviously a no-brainer. You pick him every time. But Pickett, this could be interesting. If North Melbourne plays as poor as they have in the first half of the season, Pickett will probably have a big game. Although, considering a lot of people think North are going to be a bit more competitive this time around, I don't know if that's the case. Although, I, as a non-believer, it feels like for most of the year, although the performance against Collingwood was amazing, I'm just worried that that hype is going to let me down. And so I've gone Pickett in case it has. I don't know, if Fretch kicks 10 and Pickett gets none of the football, I'll be so depressed. I'll be so depressed. But Mackay, Langford, Cameron, and Danaher make up the others. Mackay's been great. Cameron, he often gets himself around the ground. Langford can pop off for big games, and against West Coast, I feel like it could happen very, very easily. And Danaher as well. He's been playing quite well against, I can't remember who they're against. I always forget this. They're up against Port Adelaide, and Port Adelaide's backline I've always felt a little bit weak. So I think Danaher will have himself a good game here, and obviously he moves himself into the ruck a bit. Would be nice to see him have a great game, but we saw ourselves get ranked 17, and this was where our prize card came from last week. So gonna hopefully find ourselves another one with this team. It would be awesome because this one seems to be the most common one for all the game modes pretty much. But let's have a look over at Star Powers. Star Powers, we're getting ourselves to start a very, very familiar looking silver Star Powers side. Errol Goulden keeps the mighty position. We got Merritt in the midfield ball spot. Lockie Whitfield stays the defensive dynamo. Nick Martin comes back in for next gen, and Maxi Gawn comes back in for Trailblazer. Nothing really out of the ordinary. A lot of expected picks here that I don't think many people are too surprised about. Last week, we saw ourselves a 464 and a rank 172, so it would be nice to see ourselves hit that 500. This team absolutely has the potential to do so. Now we move though to Ultra. I'm so excited to show you the Ultra. I thought about hiding one of the players, but I thought if you guys saw who I was hiding and which position I was hiding it in, you know who I picked up. It's the double points Maxi Gawn. I had to get him. I just had to. He has been getting solid 120s all season. I thought I would be stupid not to do it. I feel like I would be dumb not to pick him up. And so here we are. He is getting the double points. We've got the next gen Nick Martin. He is getting double points as well. And the Errol Goulden. This is an awesome set of three here. I just need these two to play their usual game. I need to find a silver Star Powers Lockie Whitfield somewhere because I am not confident at all with Tom Stewart. He can have some pretty poor games. Just need him to perform solid. 80 plus would be awesome. Just get your average and I'm happy. And then Caleb Sarong, who's coming off an 80-point game, but he can also drop a high average. You can see averaging 110 for the season, slowly dropping as the year has gone over. But Sarong at his best can pull off a great spot, pull off a great position. And I just need these guys to do well enough so that they don't completely ruin the performance of these three, presuming they have their usual games. You can see averaging 120 there, 109 there, and 114 here. Coming up a 127. Goulden has been performing amazing as of late. So, God, if we can somehow pull off 120s with all of them, I will be ecstatic because that will, put us at 240 each, put us well over 600, I think 700, give us 720, I think. That would be amazing if we can start off with 120s, but that's super hopeful. That's super, wishful thinking. We'll have to wait and see, but you can see last week, 61, had ourselves an awesome double point. I think Dusty and Jason or Francis, I remembered, those guys kind of let us down. So, yeah, just fingers crossed that these guys don't do what they did last week. Oh, man, I really hope that this is the week we finally get back on the Star Powers train. We haven't had one for a good while, and I think we've got all the players to do so now. But anyways, that is the review, you guys. I always am super excited for the weekend of footy, not just for the games, but for everything in between. It's really just an exciting weekend. Lots of potential clashes with especially GWS and Sydney. Keen to have a look at who wins that one. That'll be interesting. Presuming Sydney, but you never know. You never know with these kinds of clashes. It will be exciting though, and I'm hopeful that you guys enjoy your weekend of footy too. So thank you all very much for joining me here today on the channel. Again, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Everything is always very much appreciated, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.